This isn't fair. Oh, hi. I was just looking at my hair here. Interesting how a weekend of having cats near you while you're sleeping makes your hair shorter. This is why I'm a dog person. Well, hi boys and girls! I've had a pretty good weekend. Before, I say anything, I would just like to start off by saying I survived my auditions. At first, I thought I wasn't going to because I thought I was gonna panic or get really nervous all of a sudden or just lose my mind and the audition ruined. But no, it was actually quite the opposite. Overall, it was a pretty different turnout than what I was expecting. An honor band, the hallways were just barren. There were no flutes anywhere. Not really prepared for that, honestly, because that didn't make any sense to me of like, where'd they all go? Like, where? Of course, Allstate was a little bit more packed, but still not as packed as other years. Maybe it's because the class size for my grade and the grade below me is relatively smaller, whereas, the grade after them is huge. So, good luck to that class having fun during their auditions. I won't know until Monday of whether I made it or not. Until then, I'm just kind of hoping for the best. One thing I am going to do real quick is going to have a little bit of a nerd moment. I've described and on my other videos that I've been playing flute for a very long time. Long for me anyways, about 7 years. And I've been playing Piccolo for 5. And I also went over into how my beloved instrument decided to have a freak out on me and not play any low notes. So I wanted to have a moment and describe a little bit about my flutes. For those of you who do not know much about flutes, they're pretty basic instruments once you look past all the crazy keys and configurations. It's the tube about yay long. Is that right? Might be longer. It's a woodwind instrument that doesn't really have much wood except for the corks. This is like basic 6th grade knowledge though, so I don't even know why I'm telling you this. There are different kinds of flutes. Obviously, all instrument categories have different ranges and types. The flutes don't usually use those different types unless they're in like a specific flute choir where only flutes are in that certain group. More common ones would be saxophones, when you have usually 3, even 4 different types of saxophones in one group. But there are actually tons of different flutes, some of them end blown, some of them horizontal. The more common one is the ones that you see, in a high school band. That's the concert C flute. The instrument that is above it by an octave, pulling it out of my bag right now, is half the size, known as a piccolo. And it also goes longer too into alto and bass flutes and double contrabass flutes, which is ridiculous. Along with other, types, there's different brands. The easiest way to talk about this would be cereal. I don't know what kind of population likes, Fruit Loops. Some people really, really like Fruit Loops. But there is more than one company that makes Fruit Loops. There is the original brand of Kellogg's, which most people choose to consume. And then there's the store brand Fruit Loops. The store that is selling the Fruit Loops that decides to make their own Fruit Loops. And it's the same with flutes. You have Gemeinhardt, Armstrong, Yamaha, Pearl, Jupiter, Bundy. Don't go there. After having my whole mix-up of my low notes, I borrowed a classmate's flute, which is a different brand than mine. I got a different performance out of it to where I actually questioned whether my brand was good. So over the weekend, I did some more research on flute brands, and I devised my own opinion based off what I already knew about brands and what I learned over the weekend. The instrument that I have right now is a Gemeinhardt 5 SHB series. It's considered an intermediate flute. Solid silver head joint, but silver plated body and foot, inline G with a B foot. open hole. I mean, it sounds really well. There's Y key connectors. The trill keys don't suck. I found a lot of flutes that had stupid trill keys. The only problem I really have though is the way the B foot is made. It doesn't have a long arm. It has this stub, which I don't quite understand. The head joint itself is more of an ovular shape. It's been doing pretty well for me. The crown, basic round crown, there's no difference in it. My cork is probably dried out. That's probably why I wasn't sounding so well. But it's been doing well for me. I've been playing on it for like the past 4 years, and I haven't really gotten that many problems from it. I'm just gonna put it together real quick. So, my judgment of measurement was a little off, but I'm not really good at guesstimating. But the problems I was having is, it was stupid. So you see, towards the end, it starts to lose the tone of the actual note. So after I had that issue, I went to a fellow classmate and she let me borrow her flute for the weekend. And it's actually a really nice flute. I don't want to give it back because it's so nice. The flute that she has, which is over here, is an Armstrong 80 BT series. This instrument, also open hole, inline G with a B foot, is solid silver throughout. The head joint is quite unique. Here is the head joint of her instrument. It is a gold-plated, engraved head joint with a more hexagonal tone hole and a gold-plated crown. Of course, they try to make it all pretty with it engraving. It's a very nice instrument. Now, of course, the B foot has a better B keys that I'm more used to. It's has that longer trigger. It resonates like a god. It's very nice to listen to. One thing I'm not used to though is of course, that hexagonal tone hole, which changes the tone. So, I guess it's not me, it's my instrument, probably with the keys or the pads, something that needs to be serviced some way, somehow. But after, looking over my instrument and, practicing and then comparing and then deciding and judging and, reaching all these conclusions, I've had to ask myself, is Gemeinhardt really a good instrument? I mean, I have been playing Gemeinhardts all throughout my flute playing career. My first flute I played in middle school and then my freshman year of marching band. Of course, it got rained on a lot in the season, so it turned green and then someone stepped on it, so then it bent where the A key was, and it turned itself unplayable. So then my replacement flute, I had Billy 2, who was also a Gemeinhardt, who was still in pretty good condition. They're both student flutes. They're not made of any precious metals or anything. They're just a basic flute to get the job done. This one right here, my flute, Swiss, as I've named him, which stands for Swiss cheese. Long story. I've had Swiss for almost 4 years, and that one is my concert flute. And so far, it's been doing me really well. And then Billy 2 is my marching flute for when I still played the flute during marching band until I switched to Piccolo, which is my Pippin, which is also a Gemeinhardt. Solid metal though, it's not wood or plastic. They've all been giving me a pretty good performance. They haven't really held me back that much. But as I'm progressing more and more in my playing ability, I'm realizing that the potential of my playing is being held back by the quality of my instrument. So I guess the real question is, well, would you stick with Gemeinhardt or would you switch to Armstrong? And really, I would pick neither. The past few years I've been playing around in Ken Stanton and other flute shops. I've learned that those two are really flutes that you really want to use for when you're starting out, if you're not really thinking about getting really serious about flute playing. For me, personally, from what I've played, the best instruments are actually Japanese crafted. I played a Miwazawa in Kensington. It was a used flute that someone sold to them a couple months ago. But it was a beautiful resonation, and from what I was told, it was very sturdy because it had been used for many years and it looked like it was new. This flute right here I've used for many years, and I mean, you can kind of tell it's used. It tarnishes when you like use a polishing cloth. You can still kind of tell it's worn in some places, and the metal is really soft, so it bends really easy. Like here, it hit my stand, and it can't come out. That's just, you can't fix that. And then I talked to some of my flute teachers and some other flute experts that I met and know, and they told me, you know, Altus, Burkhardt, Miwazawa, Nagahara, Kotatsu, I mean, any of those, you know, flutes, you know, Japanese, even Japanese made Yamahas are really, really good. The Yamahas are actually relatively affordable, but you know, those other brands are pretty pricey, but from what I've played on, I would think that they're worth it. So, you know, in the future, I'm probably going to get another flute, and I'm not going to look even near Gemeinhardt or Armstrong. I'm probably going to go up into, you know, Altus or Burkhardt or something. Gemeinhardt and Armstrong, they're not terrible. They are not terrible flutes. They are, as you know, briefly heard, they're fantastic flutes. Would I recommend them for someone who's trying to go professional? No. It's all about opinion, you know? It's what you prefer, what you think that works best for you, or me, or whoever, you know, it is. But, you know, don't rely on my word, because I'm a teenager and I'm still learning. Here's a good example of Yamaha. This Piccolo here actually is a Yamaha, Japanese made, it says there in the label. And this thing has held up many years. This isn't even mine, it's the school's, and they've said they've had them for a while. They sound amazing. No complaints there. As far as brands, I would recommend Japanese or any other independent brand, you know, but if you just want to play, you know, through high school and just get through it, get a really cheap Yamaha or an Armstrong or Gemeinhardt. Any of those will be fine. One thing I will definitely say though, in my experience of playing Bundy, don't go near Bundy. I've played a Piccolo that was Bundy made, and it was the saddest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. It was dreadful. Well, my nerd moment is over. Hope you guys learned a lot about flutes and stuff. I might, you know, tell you guys more about flutes and stuff later. I hope you guys found it entertaining. I hope you guys had a lot of fun watching these playoffs games this weekend. Falcons love to keep you on your toes there. They literally threw that second half. It was a miracle they saved themselves. But I love my Dirty Birds, so rise up. Hope you guys will watch the 49ers Falcons game next week. Hoping for my Falcons to win. But their 49ers aren't playing, so we'll see how it goes. I have homework to do. This sucks. Alright. Bye, world.